You are harboring a criminal in there." Evelyn Harper screamed those words across my front yard, her voice sharp enough to cut through the morning quiet and send the blue jays scattering from the old pecan tree. I stood at my kitchen window, coffee cooling in my hand, watching her jab a finger at my barn like she had just uncovered a federal crime. 6 people flanked her, all wearing matching navy vests that read HOA Patrol in bold white letters. Clayton Reed already had bolt cutters raised toward my gate. They had no right to be on my land, let alone slice through my lock. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from, because what happened next changed everything. The metal shriek of the cutters biting steel rang out like a gunshot. Dust rose in the early sun, turning the air around my barn golden. I did not move, did not shout. My lawyer had been clear: document everything, stay calm, let them dig their own hole. I dialed her number. They just cut the lock. I have it on camera. Trespassing and destruction of property. Her reply came fast. Do not engage. Call 911. I will start the complaint. I dialed emergency. 6 people just broke into my barn after destroying my lock. I do not know what they are planning, but I feel threatened. The operator confirmed my address and said units were en route. I stayed inside, watching through the window as Evelyn's team disappeared into the barn, their shadows swallowed by the darker interior. This was the 3rd time in a month, each escalation worse than the last. 2 weeks earlier, Evelyn had sent her first courtesy notice, crisp white envelope with the HOA logo embossed in gold. The letter claimed my barn violated aesthetic guidelines and required immediate inspection. I responded politely with copies of my deed and a letter from my attorney. My 15 acres were purchased in 1983, years before the HOA existed. I was not a member. I had no obligation. Evelyn answered with an email blast to every household in Willow Creek Estates, 200 families. Subject line: property owner refuses cooperation, threatens community values. She painted me as selfish, stubborn, a danger to property values. I saved every email, every text from neighbors asking if I was turning my barn into a junkyard. I installed 8 security cameras with cloud backup. Nothing would vanish. My attorney reviewed everything and confirmed I stood on solid ground. Evelyn had no authority. None. But authority and power are different animals, and Evelyn Harper had spent 10 years climbing the ladder. 5 days ago, something shifted. I was sanding a table in the barn when I heard movement in the back corner. I carried a sandwich from the house and spoke softly. You need to rest. Stay as long as you need. It is quiet. It is safe. A low voice answered from the shadows. Thanks, partner. I will not forget this. I left the sandwich and walked out. No one needed to know he was there. Not yet. Now I stood in my kitchen as Evelyn's team rummaged inside. I called 911 again to confirm response. Through the window, I saw Clayton on his belt, maybe a phone, maybe a taser. I could not tell. Sirens grew closer. 2 patrol cars, then 3, then a black tactical van. 8 officers, four in full gear. The crowd of neighbors along the road went dead silent. Evelyn emerged flushed, clipboard clutched like armor. She saw me and pointed. You cannot stop us. We have every right to inspect this property. I said nothing. The lead officer approached. Ma'am, we have a report of trespassing and property damage. Explain your presence. Evelyn launched into her speech about HOA authority and community safety. The officer listened, then asked, Do you have the owner's permission to be here? Evelyn hesitated. We do not need permission. We are the HOA. The officer's face stayed neutral. That is not how property law works. If the owner has not consented, you are trespassing. Then the barn door creaked open slow, deliberate. My friend stepped into the sunlight. He wore jeans and a plain shirt, but the badge on his belt caught the light like a signal flare. He walked with a slight limp, favoring his left knee, yet every eye locked on him. The officer straightened. The crowd recognized the badge and the shift in power. Evelyn recognized the end. Sheriff Daniel Brooks, county sheriff, spoke calm and clear. I have been staying here 3 weeks recovering from knee surgery. Mr. Lawson is a friend of 15 years. I witnessed every act of trespass and destruction from inside that barn. As a sworn officer, even off duty, I am required to report crimes I observe. This has nothing to do with friendship. It has everything to do with law. The crowd erupted in whispers. Phones rose higher. Evelyn's face went crimson. This is a conflict of interest. You are protecting him because he is your friend. Sheriff Brooks did not flinch. Mrs. Harper, you and your team committed criminal trespass and criminal mischief in front of 20 witnesses and multiple cameras. Officer Grant, please detain Mrs. Harper. Evelyn jerked away. You cannot arrest me. I represent 200 families. The handcuffs clicked. The sound carried across the property like a judge's gavel. Officer Grant read her rights. The tactical team secured the others for questioning. Clayton dropped the bolt cutters and raised his hands. I told her this was wrong. She threatened to fire me. The air crackled with tension. Evelyn's voice rose to a shriek. This is corruption. I will sue every one of you. I have lawyers. I have connections. The sheriff's voice cut through like a blade. Mrs. Harper, everything you say is being recorded by 30 phones. Stop talking. You are making this worse. Clayton stepped forward, pale. I want to cooperate. She said we had legal backing. She showed us papers. The sheriff nodded. Then give your statement. The truth will help you. Evelyn lunged toward the gate, but 2 officers blocked her. She spun back, eyes wild. You will regret this. All of you. My husband is on the city council. I know the mayor. The sheriff smiled without warmth. Tell it to the judge. The tactical team leader approached me. Mr. Lawson, are you armed? No, sir. Do you feel safe now? Yes. He nodded and returned to his team. The crowd had grown to 50, phones live streaming. Someone shouted. She said he was hiding criminals. Another laughed. That is the sheriff. Evelyn's knees buckled. An officer caught her arm. She sagged, the fight draining out. The handcuffs glinted in the sun as they led her to the patrol car. Clayton and the others were separated, statements taken on the spot. The drone overhead captured every angle. By noon the police were gone. They had statements, footage, the broken lock in an evidence bag. My attorney arrived, reviewed everything, and smiled for the first time in weeks. We have her on video, audio, and 30 witnesses. This is open and shut. That evening the neighborhood social media group exploded. Someone posted drone footage of the barn, clean, organized, no hazards. Comments flipped. Why did she lie? The barn looks great. Evelyn deleted posts, banned users, but the tide had turned. 3 days later the county opened a fraud investigation into HOA finances. A quiet treasurer named Laura Bennett came forward with 2 years of cooked books, $78,000 in fake contracts, unapproved salaries, a patrol car that was Evelyn's personal SUV. The DA filed felony theft and forgery charges alongside trespass and mischief. Evelyn took a plea. 3 years probation, full restitution, permanent ban from any HOA role. The HOA reformed under new leadership with transparent books, Democratic votes, and no more patrol vests. Property values rose 5% on the publicity of accountability. My barn stands exactly as my uncle built it. The new lock is heavier, the sign clearer, private property, respect the line. Neighbors wave now instead of whispering. The sheriff healed and returned to duty, but he still drops by for coffee on Sundays. We never talk about the day the HOA met the SWAT team. We do not need to. The barn remembers. What do you think? Was the fight worth every sleepless night, or should I have opened the gate to keep the peace? When bullies cross your line, do you negotiate or call the law? Drop your stand in the comments, especially on power, abuse, and whether regular folks can still beat the system without losing everything first.